coming from all sorts of background. And as Dino asked before, how do we shape the agenda? And I'll start with two examples and finish with the two final take-home messages with some questions that try to fire the discussion in the roundtable. So the first example is about the job market, both in hiring and internal progressions. And as you may know, one famous example dates back to some years ago when Amazon decided to delegate much of the HR to some AI systems. And the decision was shortly overturned when it was discovered that men were being hired in advance much more than women. And for the first time, the gender bias in data hit and startled the scientific community. But today, more than half of the HR in industry are using predictive algorithms to make hiring choices. And the second example is about mortgages and consumer credit. Recent work by Laura Blattner and Scott Nelson shows that differences in mortgage approval between minority and majority groups is not just down to bias, as we know, but also to noise in data. That means lack of precision. And the novelty that I want to underline here is that minorities and low-income groups have less data in their credit histories and files. So we can go on and on with examples in college applications or food stamps or welfare services allocation. But the point is, why does it happen? And the short answer is social phenomena are complex, okay? Society is baked with multiple structures of inequalities, and we often forget that. And I want to draw attention especially to one word, that is intersectionality, because I think that intersectionality is a key feature of social phenomena that usually is oversimplified. So by now we know that we need more equitable AI systems, making sure that models and data and algorithms are not designed to weed out some specific group, like women or ethnic minorities or some LGBTQI group. But the point is that we must keep working on the how to do that. And as a community, we have been having multiple discussions about bias and about ethics. So we know that these are necessary tasks, but I think that we should go beyond, and so we can take the conversation to the next level by doing what? Two things. One is having less bias and more precise data. But even more important probably is that we need data sets, need an equal share of data distributed over all social groups involved. So as we were saying before, if minority groups have less data in their credit histories, this is the new problem. And the second thing that I would like to underline is that we need, so to go beyond that, we need to look at the wider problem. I would say the wider picture. In our examples, that would be labor and consumer credit markets. And so we need to understand how they are embedded in institutional and social frameworks that heavily influence their functioning. So considering the broader social, economic, or political issue that we are addressing through some AI application is the only way to escape the problem of technological fixing. So not every social problem has a technical solution, or maybe not just a technical solution. And this is because what I said just 2 minutes ago, that means it is because of the inequality, intersectionality, and complexity that makes society what it is. Technology can automate existing inequalities, and actually it has already had. AI could become the next inequality engine, and we need to remember that to try to avoid it. As a sociologist, the first take-home message is the following. Only an integrated, multidisciplinary AI community could go beyond the solutionism approach that treats social phenomena as in need for a technical solution. And social sciences should strongly participate into this conversation. And just want to remember that science and technology are usually incremental in nature, while social sciences could be radical in their capacity of reimagining technology and its future applications. And this is the only way to counterbalance the potential for automating inequalities. So my question to you are, how do we design future AI systems that reflect the intersectionality and the overlapping structures of inequalities of the real world? How could AI design limit the Matthew effect? How do we grow as a community this kind of integrated community? So I want to move to the second point, and to do that, I want to cite Kate Crawford, that many of you for sure know, that has just published a book titled Atlas of AI. And I want to cite her by saying that AI is neither artificial nor intelligent. It's not artificial because it is made by man with natural resources. And it's not intelligent, although it seems so, because it seems to be autonomous, but actually it requires people. It requires people in charge of performing tasks. For example, labeling data. And here I would like to remind the book by Mary L. Gray that well described the underworld of the ghost workers. So the point is that AI is not immaterial. AI is made of structures of production, is made of materialities that we cannot overlook. It is made of labor processes, classificatory logics. It is made, above all, probably of power structure that we need to contemplate and integrate to really finalize AI for the social good. And so the second take-home message is that if we really want to look and analyze the impact, the implication of AI on society, we need to start thinking the process all over, starting from the very beginning, when you can have the most impact on people's behaviors and attitudes, not after. So it's a kind of redesigning it, not only fixing it. And on this last point, my question to you and for the roundtables are, who benefit or who does not benefit by the extensive use of AI systems? How do we better reflect the social complexity of the real world? And really, my last words are a sort of call for diversity. How can we make the whole process more diverse in design, in development, and in use? So I stop here and leave the floor to the next speaker.
Thanks.